Berlanga took his shot at the iconic Canelo Alvarez, but it quickly became clear that the moment was too big for him. With what might be his final shot at glory slipping through his fingers, Berlanga's post-fight interview was a mix of regret and resignation. He even went so far as to apologize. Is this the end of the road for Berlanga, or just a pit stop on his way to obscurity? Edgar Berlanga faced the biggest challenge of his career on Saturday night, going up against undisputed super middleweight champion Saul Canelo Alvarez at a packed T-Mobile arena. Despite giving it his all, the 27-year-old suffered his first professional loss, falling to 22-10 after a hard-fought battle. For Berlanga, this fight was a chance to prove himself against one of the best. Throughout the fight, he managed to stand toe-to-toe with Alvarez, matching the legendary fighter's punch output, even though Canelo's accuracy made the difference. Berlanga landed just 26.7% of his punches, compared to Canelo's 43.3%. But he refused to back down, even when Canelo's power punches connected, including a sharp left hook that floored him in the third round. While the judges scored the fight convincingly in Alvarez's favor, 118-109 and 117-110. Berlanga pushed through, showing grit and determination. He wasn't going to let the occasion get to him, even standing toe-to-toe with Canelo and refusing to be bullied. In the later rounds, despite getting dropped and absorbing significant damage, Berlanga kept coming forward, though at times it got wild. A missed overhand right sent him to the canvas in the 7th, and he was warned for a headbutt in the 8th. In the end, it wasn't his night, but Berlanga didn't walk away empty-handed. He earned the respect of the champion and showed he belonged at this level, even telling Alvarez after the final bell that the Mexican had been his idol growing up. For Edgar Berlanga, stepping into the ring against Saul Canelo, Alvarez was a monumental challenge, especially on Mexican Independence Day, a moment Canelo was proud to honor. Canelo's passion for representing Mexico was clear, and at times his frustration with Berlanga's tactics bubbled over. Still, Berlanga felt this was his opportunity to test himself against the best, even though Canelo chose him over the IBF's #1. One challenger, William Skull, which cost the Mexican his IBF title. It didn't change the significance of the night. Las Vegas was buzzing that weekend, not just with boxing, but also the UFC's debut at the Sphere, with 7 Mexican fighters making their mark just a few miles away. The atmosphere was electric, and the stakes felt high, especially as Berlanga squared off against a legend like Canelo. But Berlanga wasn't alone in his battle that night. In other bouts, 41-year-old Erislandy Lara defended his WBA middleweight championship with a TKO win over Danny Garcia, ending it with a precise straight left jab in the 9th round. Caleb Plant, who faced Trevor McCumbee for the interim WBA super middleweight title, had to dig deep after getting knocked down in the 4th round. But Berlanga saw how Plant bounced back, dominating the last rounds and finishing McCumbee with a flurry that prompted a stoppage at the last second of the 9th. Even Rolando Romero got a win that night, outpointing Manuel Jaimes with a unanimous decision. For Berlanga, all these fights were a reminder of the brutal and unpredictable nature of boxing. Despite coming up short against Canelo, he was standing alongside some of the sport's best, knowing the experience would make him stronger for future battles. Edgar Berlanga stepped into the ring with confidence, facing the biggest challenge of his career against Canelo Alvarez. From the opening bell, Berlanga tried to establish his jab, staying behind it to keep the pressure off. But it wasn't long before Canelo's relentless pursuit began to wear on him. In the 3rd round, Canelo landed a clean left hook that sent Berlanga to the canvas. Frustrated, Berlanga pounded his gloves together and quickly got back up, determined to prove he belonged. Despite being knocked down, Berlanga managed to survive a barrage of punches, showing grit as he slowed the pace to his liking. But Canelo was already taking control. As the fight progressed into the middle rounds, Berlanga found moments of success, countering effectively at times. In round 6, he predicted a knockout, But the reality was different. Canelo was piling on the pressure, cornering Berlanga with hooks to the body and jabs to the head. The American slowed down considerably as the relentless assault from the champion started to take a toll. Even when he landed stern uppercuts and mixed up his combinations, Canelo remained unfazed, his experience shining through as he continued hunting Berlanga down. The later rounds offered no relief for Berlanga, who fought hard but struggled to keep up with Canelo's pace. In round 9, Canelo snapped Berlanga's head back with a crisp 1-2, and although Berlanga retaliated, his offense couldn't match the accuracy or power of the Mexican superstar. Their exchanges got heated by round 10 when Canelo turned his back after a leaping hook from Berlanga, leading to a war of words between the two. Berlanga even taunted Canelo with a crotch chop, but the gesture did little to change the momentum. As they entered the championship rounds, the sold-out crowd at T-Mobile Arena was fully behind Canelo, chanting his name as the Mexican landed heavy shots to the head and body. Berlanga, visibly tiring, still tried to stay in the fight, landing a few solid shots in round 11, but Canelo's experience and toughness carried him through. By the final round, both fighters knew the score. Berlanga motioned to the crowd, receiving boos, while Canelo did the same and was met with cheers. Despite the outcome, Berlanga had engaged more than many of Canelo's past opponents, giving the fans an exciting fight before the final bell rang, and the two touched gloves in a show of respect. Known for his knockout power, many believed Berlanga could be the one to truly test Canelo and perhaps shake up the super middleweight division. However, from the early rounds, it was clear that Berlanga was not quite meeting those expectations. He struggled to keep up with Canelo's pace, power, and relentless pressure, often finding himself on the defensive. While he had his moments, like some solid counters and bursts of energy, it wasn't enough to trouble the legendary Mexican. The loss marked a major setback for Berlanga. This was his first taste of defeat, and it wasn't just the loss itself, but the way he was outclassed by Canelo. That has left many questioning his future. After such a high-profile loss, it's going to be tough for Berlanga to land another big fight soon. Promoters may be hesitant to invest in him after seeing his limitations on the biggest stage. There's already speculation that Berlanga may even consider retirement, rather than continue trying to climb the mountain after such a humbling defeat. But is this the end for Berlanga? Could he bounce back, learn from this experience, and come back stronger? Or is this the moment he decides to hang up his gloves? Let us know what you think. Should Berlanga keep fighting, or has his moment passed? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.